So appreciate you joining us here for today. We're going to be sharing the profit optimization formula and really walking you through how to take your practice to the next level. So whether you're a dentist that is owning your own practice or you have multiple locations, we're here to really help you optimize not only the profitability of your practice, but the enjoyability of your practice, right? And a lot of that comes down to not just mindset, but also the practices that you put in place in your business. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, and whether your goal is to 5x your company over the next 5 years, if you're looking to grow your practice so that you can retire and sell it for the maximum amount, or you just want to have a more not only profitable but enjoyable practice to serve your patients. That's what we're going to be talking about here over the next few minutes. So let's go ahead and kick this off and we'll get right into it. I will share my screen and we'll get going. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Brandon Barnum. I'm the chairman of the Champions Institute and the Champion Dentist Program. I'm most known for being the best-selling author of Raving Referrals. I've done over $500 million, $500 million in transactions by referral. And so I love helping business owners like you really generate more profit through your practice and increase the overall revenue. I've done 5 different online platforms. In fact, my last was a platform that we built to have over 5 million members around the world, all building their business by referrals. So when it comes to referrals, that's really my secret superpower. So that's really what I'm known for. Emmy Savader, who you see on screen, is the president of the Champions Institute and our Champion Dentist Program. She spent over 3 decades, over 30 years in the healthcare world. She actually put her husband through dental school at Tulane University back in 3 decades ago, right? When she was working as an RN in the space, and not only helped him become a dentist, and now he and they together own very successful orthodontic practices with 4 different clinics doing millions of dollars a year in revenue. And over the last few decades, Emmy has helped hundreds of dental practices really boost their business and attract new patients into their practice. So we'll be talking a lot about what Emmy's done and how she's helping you. And then we have Tanya Burns. Tanya is our director of our profit optimization program. She leads our team of dental consultants. And just so you really know how our organization works, we are a performance-based dental practice, a dental consulting group. And we don't take on just anybody as clients. We're not one of those where you can just hire us. We're very selective. And so what we're going to do over this next 40 minutes is we're going to pour into you and teach you a lot of strategies that we've learned from helping hundreds of dental practices collectively boost their overall profitability and performance and create operational excellence and really championship cultures, so that you have teams of people that love coming to work every day and are excited about caring for your patients and representing your brand. Okay, well, let's get started and walk you through this. There's really 3 keys to optimizing the profitability of your practice. And it all starts with scheduling, as well as the culture that you're creating, and then attracting raving referrals for your business. We're going to unpack each of those and give you some actionable steps that you're going to be able to put in practice immediately following this masterclass, so that you can start attracting more patients for your practice and really boost the overall performance and profitability of your practices starting right now, and especially as we head into 2023. But first, we wanted to share with you some statistics about the dental industry that you may not know about. First and foremost, did you know that in 2021, owner dentist private practices made an average gross profit of $224,490. Now that's a great income, right? For one person. You spent all that time going to medical school, dental school, and getting your degree so that you could practice medicine, specifically in the field of dentistry, right? And so what we want to do is really help you grow that income, that gross revenue, and that net profitability as quickly as possible for your practice. And what's interesting is that on average nationwide, it costs you guys an average of $431,380 to run a private practice. So this is no small business. And if you are in the specialty space, it costs even more. On average, specialists are spending $514,040 to run your specialized dentistry practice. Okay. So this is a significant business. And we're going to talk over the course of these next few minutes about some of the average income that you're generating from your patients nationwide and really the overall ways that you can boost not only the gross revenue per patient, but really the gross revenue for your practice. And one of the interesting facts that we've researched is that solo owner dentists are earning 30% less than non-solo dentists. So whether you are operating by yourself or if you have other associate dentists that are working for you, there's a really awesome opportunity to increase, again, your overall revenue and then your net profitability. And 73% of dentists overall own their own private practice. So most of you came out of dental school, you got your degree, but you got your degree in caring for people's mouths, right? And for their bodies overall, the physicality, the physiology of humans. But what we find is that most dentists didn't get a degree in actually running your business. So what you're really good at, what you excel at, is caring for your patient and providing exceptional care. And where we find the gap oftentimes is actually managing your business. But before we get into that side of our conversation, this is a fun fact that we found in doing the research on dentists that we thought you guys would absolutely love to hear about. So love for you to put in chat what you think the favorite car is for dentists. If you had to guess what the number one car overall the dentists love to drive, what do you think that is? Go ahead and put that in chat and we'll show you the answer here in just a couple of seconds. Okay, I'm seeing Mercedes. Good guess, good guess. BMW, okay, that's a good guess too. Absolutely. Audi, yep, I'm sure there's a lot of those. Okay, go ahead. What I'm going to do now is just show you the results. The actual number one car, if this was Family Feud, the number one car is a Tesla, right? And there's probably a number of you that are on this call that actually drive a Tesla yourself. And why is that? Because you love being at the leading edge of technology, right? You take pride in things that are exceptionally well engineered and manufactured. And Tesla certainly meets that mark. It is a leading edge, high technology car. And that's one of the things that's true about most of the dentists that we work with is that you love being on the leading edge. Well, when we research dentists from coast to coast, and after serving hundreds of dentists with our team, what we found is there's really 5 total goals that you overall love to focus on and work towards. And if we were doing this Family Feud style from the bottom to the top, the number 5 goal is networking with dental specialists to generate more referrals. And depending on what area you are, maybe you're a general practitioner, or maybe you're a specialized, maybe you're an ortho or perio, whatever your specialization is, having connections and networking with other dentists is really helpful in order to grow your business and make sure that you've got quality people that you can refer your patients to and vice versa. And you should always be learning and building relationships with others who are in the industry so that you can gain those best practices. And in fact, that kind of ties into, it's a segue to number 4, which is keeping the practice updated with the newest equipment, the newest materials, and the newest software. You know, recently I was at the American Academy of Periodontology conference here in Phoenix, Arizona, where I live, and it was fascinating. I was there hosted by Nobel Biocare. We have a strategic alliance with them. And so it was fascinating just to talk to all of the perios that were on site about and see the latest technology that's coming out. It's just a really interesting field, and there's so much for you to stay on that leading edge of. So you always want to know what the best practices are in the industry, and there's a lot of great materials. And that's one of the things that we do with our dental partners, is really continually bring the best and the latest and greatest to elevate your game so that you're providing the best quality care that you can. And then number three, building a team that is motivated and also dedicated to learning, right? In order to provide that quality care to your patients, it's important that you've got a team that is motivated, that is dedicated to not only learning, but aspiring to be the best that they can be. One of the things that we teach here at the Champion Dentist program is helping practices to really optimize how they're caring for themselves and their practices, and committing to learning. And sorry, I've just got somebody that is showing up on screen. So hi, Emmy, welcome to the call. I see you've just joined us. That's great. Excellent. Okay, awesome. So building a team that is motivated and dedicated to learning, and that's so important for a dental practice. Having a pleasant staff and a caring office environment is critical. When somebody walks into your practice for the first time, they're evaluating everything. Is this a place that I feel comfortable? Is this a place that I feel confident in the quality of care that I'm going to receive at this dental practice? In other words, is this dental clinic my new home? And people evaluate that instantly the second that they walk in the door, from the second that they're greeted by your staff. So it's super important that you have the right people in the right positions within your team. So having a pleasant staff, super important for your business, and then a caring office environment. And this is something that we work with in our partner practices. And then the number one goal for dentists overall, as we've done this survey, is increasing the practice productivity and profitability. And we're going to be talking about that a lot today. Well, some of the things that keep dentists up at night, and you can go ahead and put that in chat if you'd like. We'd love to hear from you. In fact, I'd love to see what it is that keeps you up at night. As you think about your practice as we go into the new year, what is it that you want to focus on, number one, in your practice? As we did this survey, the number 5 answer was achieving reliable and sustainable revenue growth. Okay, continuing to grow the overall revenue of your practice. And that's something that is always got to be on your mind, right? Of course it does. Staying ahead of the competition is another thing that comes up time and time again with the dentists that we work with. Time management and consistent client care. And we're going to be going through some of the strategies and teaching you exactly how you can manage your time most effectively and focus on what's most important for the productivity and the profitability of your practice. And then staffing. Staffing is a massive issue, right? Because again, you're the doctor, you're the dentist. You want to be focused on the quality of your care. And when you're dealing with issues that are coming up with your team members, it can be incredibly distracting and disruptive for the overall culture that you're creating. So we've got a lot of strategies and best practices to ensure that you've got a championship culture within your organization and that your team is motivated and excited to come represent you and your practice every single day. But finding new patients is the number one result that we get. And I see some of you put that in the chat stream, more patients, absolutely, right? How do I attract more patients to my practice? We're going to be talking a lot about that as we go through this masterclass, both with the raving referrals strategies that we teach, and then also other client attraction. And we're going to show you a way that you can assess exactly how your practice is showing up online. Because the reality is people are searching for new dentists every single day. And in that 5 miles around your practice is the most important place that you can be found. And so we'll walk you through exactly how you can optimize how you're showing up online. But we need to start with the foundation of your practice, which is scheduling. There's nothing more important to the overall profitability of your practice than scheduling. Because the reality is empty chairs equal lost profits. If you have operatories that are sitting there empty, then you can never get that time back. You can never resell that care that you would have delivered. And so your calendar drives your profitability. And one of the things that our team of consultants do when we initially start partnering with a practice is we immediately go into your practice management software and we take a look and see what is your overall case acceptance rate, but overall, how are you scheduling your new clients? Are you really optimizing it for the profitability of your practice or for what's best for your patients? And there's a healthy balance, right? But if you are being reactive to your patients rather than proactive to the profitability of your practice, we're telling you right now, you're losing money, or you're leaving money on the table is what I really should be saying, right? Because empty chairs equal lost profits. And as you look at your calendar, if there's a lot of gaps, then there's a lot of missed opportunities to generate revenue for your practice. That's one of the things that we focus on first and foremost. Now, I think every one of you is clear that new patients equals growth. The only way to grow, there's two ways to grow your overall profitability, right? Number one is attracting more patients to your business. And number two is attracting a higher revenue per patient, increasing the overall revenue that you're generating for each patient that's coming through your door. And we're going to be talking about that on this masterclass as well. But we can't overemphasize the importance of reactivation, recall, and retention for your practice. And the reality is, most of you are amazing dentists, right? You provide a quality of care that you're truly proud at. But the question is, are you optimizing the business aspect of your business, right? Most of you didn't go to school for marketing or business or finance, right? Or HR. And so some of these things you've had to learn on the job. You didn't necessarily learn that at dental school either, right? They may have given you some basics when it came to growing your practice, but most of this you've had to figure out on your own. And this is why we find that a lot of practices have huge opportunities for profitability. And that's, again, what we do is we work on a performance basis. So at Champion Dentists, what we do is we assess our practices that are coming to us, and we determine if they're a right fit. And if they are, we focus on driving the profitability of your calendar. First and foremost, how do we optimize the reactivation, the recall, and the retention of your practice so that every one of those chairs is filled as optimally as you would like them to be? Because there's a number of different ways that you can boost that top line revenue. And then also you need to know the numbers of your practice. So I'm not going to ask you to share the actual value of each patient in your practice, but I'm curious how many of you actually know what that number is. So if you know that number, go ahead and put that in the Q&A that you know your number. Say, I got it, I got it, I got it. Or if you don't, just say, not sure. Okay, super curious to see that, and you can put that in the chat. What we typically find is only about 20% of the practices that we meet with and we do a diagnostic assessment with, only about 20% truly know their numbers. And let me just share with you what the overall value of a patient is in our experience on a nationwide basis. Okay, on a yearly basis, on average, each patient should be worth $1,090 to your practice. Now, it depends on what market you're in. Some markets are earning more than others. And did you know that there's a way that we can determine the actual amount that practices are charging for every single service within your local area? So that's one of the things that we do when we do our diagnostic assessment, is we look at what you're charging for every single service to determine if you're overcharging or undercharging. Now, we don't find a lot of practices that are overcharging. Typically, what we find is practices that are undercharging because maybe they looked at this 2-3 years ago, but they aren't in time, they're not current with what the insurance companies are willing to reimburse with. And so oftentimes we can help boost overall profitability simply by adjusting the amount that you charge for each of the services that you offer. You've got to know what your competition charges in your local market. And that's one of the things that we do in our diagnostic assessment. So if you don't know, that's one of the things that we can help you with and just take a look at for your business. And then what are your case acceptance rates? As we look at most practices nationwide, most dentists are closing about 50% of their cases. They're getting about 50% of the cases that they present accepted by the patient. Now, our champion dentists are more at the 2/3 rate, right? So they're typically on average at the 65 to 70% rate. And that's where we want to help you get to really be a champion dentist. You should be getting close to that 70% case acceptance rate. But there are some secrets that you need to employ in order to get to that point. And most of you, again, are really good at caring for your patient, but you're not necessarily comfortable in a quote unquote sales conversation. So part of what we do with the practices that we partner with is work on your mindset and teach you some strategies to shift the way that you think about caring for your patients so that everyone on your team is excited to offer additional services and to really boost that overall value of each patient that walks into your practice. But number one, know your numbers. Number two, boost every single one of those if you're able to. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on and have a ton of success doing. And then also you should be collecting more cash. So how do you do that? Well, we talked a little bit about insurance reimbursement. This is an area where when we do our diagnostic assessment, with new practices, we find that a lot of practices are under collecting when it comes to insurance. Either, again, they're not charging what they could be and should be based on what the insurance companies are willing to reimburse, or their reimbursement practices aren't performing very excellently and optimally, and as a result, they're leaving money on the table. So insurance reimbursement is something that you really need to take a look at. As we dive into and analyze your practice management software, that's one of the first things that we look at and optimize. And then also, you need to be identifying your VIPs. Who are your most valuable and important patients to your practice? Do you know? Right? Are there the top 10%, the top 20%? If you think about the 80-20 rule, right? The top 20% of your patients are really more valuable oftentimes than the bottom 50%. Why? Because they're coming in more frequently, more regularly. They're saying yes to more advanced care strategies because they've got more disposable income, and they're influencers. They're referring you and bringing new patients into your practice. But if you don't understand who your VIPs are, then that's a missed opportunity for your practice. So think about who are the most valuable patients in your practice. And if you actually do an analysis and you look back over this last year and you analyze and just sort your patient base by the amount of revenue per patient, that's who you want to think about and reach out to, thank them for their business. Of course, you should be doing that with every single patient. But there's some patients that deserve a little more love because they are loving your practice more than others. And then who manages your money, right? Again, you didn't necessarily go to business school. Do you have a CFO that's managing your money, whether that's in-house or maybe it's a contract CFO service? You know, one of our services that we work with, one of our partners, has 800 dental practices that they are the fractional CFO for. And so oftentimes we'll connect our partner practices with this firm because they know how to optimize the profitability of your business from a finance perspective, right? Which is just one piece of the overall puzzle. So if you're overseeing that, in addition to providing the care and having to hire and managing staffing issues and everything else that goes into running a business, the reality is there may be a better way. And what we focus on with the practices that we partner with is really optimizing your enjoyment of being a dentist. And part of that is getting the right people on the team, having a team of experts, of champions that are the best at what they do so that you can be the best at what you do and leave the rest to those that are the best at those tasks. Hope that makes sense for you. Okay, great. Well, let's talk about some of the profit progression is one of the things that we talk about, right? So most of you are probably offering hygiene on a regular basis. And as we go through these 5 areas of service, what you're going to find is they are increasingly higher in the profitability. And if you're not doing these 5 things right now, you should be taking a look at this, whether you're actually providing that care yourself or you're bringing in an associate or a partner dentist to provide some of these services, okay? So hygiene, most of you are doing hygiene on a regular basis. Some of you are probably providing whitening services as well, whether that's simply an at-home whitening kit or you're actually doing like laser whitening and using some of the latest technology that can really increase your overall revenue per patient. Okay, and that's really what we're talking about here. Now, ortho is something that it makes a lot of sense for some practices to bring in-house, right? Many of you are probably just referring that business out. And that means that those dollars are going out to somebody else, right? You're referring that business out to an orthodontist that you work with. And that may be a sound business strategy, or you may want to add that service into your practice where you partner with an orthodontist that actually comes in maybe 1 day a week or 2 days a month, depending on the amount of opportunity for you. What we love about that strategy is that brings that top line revenue into your practice, even if you're subcontracting out and paying them a percentage of the revenue that you're generating. Why is that important? The reason that's important is when you go to sell your practice, you want to maximize the gross revenue, every dollar that's coming in the door. Of course, they're going to be looking at EBITDA, right? So a buyer of your practice is going to be looking at earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation. Of course they are. But the first thing they're going to look at is how much money is this practice generating? Right? So adding ortho into your practice can make a big difference, not only to your profitability on a year-to-year basis, but also when you go to sell your practice down the road. Cosmetic dentistry is another area where if you're not already doing this, you need to be thinking about how you can add this into your practice. And don't worry, if this isn't something that you're doing right now, we can help you integrate this into your practice in a really powerful way where you're instantly boosting your overall revenue and net profitability without having to learn a new skill set, number one. But you may find that you want to add this in and learn that technique yourself. And then lastly, implants. This is one of the biggest areas, and many of you are seeing those practices that are now doing implants are making a massive bump in their overall revenue. Okay. So again, whether you're learning that skill yourself or you're just bringing in a specialist to provide that, consider adding implants into your practice, into your top line revenue for your practice. It'll make a huge difference. Okay. Well, we've talked about optimizing the profit of your practice. Now let's talk about optimizing the culture of your practice. You want to be able to come into work every day and be excited about the people that you work with and be proud of the people who are representing your name, right? Whether that's your own personal name on the dental clinic, or if you're building a brand that probably has the word smile in it in many cases, right? Or dentist or dental, whatever the brand is that you're building, it's super important that you create a championship culture within your organization. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, that all starts with clarifying the visions and the values for your practice and really getting everybody to buy in to that. So people understand exactly what they're making a stand for and what's expected of them in every single day, right? And then creating team unity in order to do that, where everybody is aligned and everybody is really united in the way that you provide care for your patients in your practice. You've got to define success, not only for the practice overall, but also for each individual role. They need to know how they win when they come and play on your team. And you've got to continually be investing in their education, right? Training your team so that they're qualified, they're competent, and they're excited about being able to provide that level of care for your practice. Okay. People need that personal pride, and that comes from being well trained, and it comes from knowing that they're doing the job well. And that comes down to rewards and recognition. So you want to be recognizing your all-stars. If you think about this like a sports team, right? You want to build an all-star team in your practice. You want to find people, again, that you're proud to have representing your brand, that there's no drama mamas working within your practice. If they are, you might need to show them the door, okay? And that's one of the things that we do lovingly with the practices that we partner with, is help them really assess the players on their current team so that they can have an all-star team representing their practice. And there's some rewards and recognition that you can put into play within your internal team so people are excited about coming to work every day, that they're excited because they know they can boost their personal incomes when they help boost your overall profitability of your practice. You want to reward people financially and give them a way that they can, when they score points for your team, that they're participating in that success. And there's some real simple, affordable ways to do that in a meaningful way that will instantly elevate the overall revenue and profitability of your practice. The other thing that you want to be doing is integrating personality science into your practice as well. Now, you may have taken Colby, you may have taken DISC in the past, maybe you've taken Bank Code or CORE or some of the other personality systems. And typically, with most of the dentists that we do a diagnostic assessment with, what we find is they've only looked through the lens of making sure that they've got the right team members in the right roles, okay? And that's super important, guys. That is like the baseline fundamental. You have to be doing that absolutely 100%. That improves your overall staff satisfaction, making sure that people are in the right seats on the bus, to use the Jim Collins good to great strategy, right? But beyond that, you also need to be thinking, how do I enhance the client communication? How do you ensure that each client, who also has their own personality code, and this is typically one of the gaps that we find when we start working with a new practice. Have you ever thought about actually identifying the personality code of each patient walking through your door, and how you can provide the best communication, how you can provide the best level of care to them based on the way that they process information? Right? You've got some people that are high knowledge, just like you. Dentists typically tend to be high knowledge in the personality science system that we teach. What that means is you want the information, the data, the science, the proof, right? You want to make an informed decision and to be able to understand all of the information that you need to make a wise, informed decision. There's also people that are high blueprint. They want to understand the process. For those people, you need to explain exactly, step by step, what's going to happen. And then opposite them, you've got the high action. Like, they just want to know that you're going to make their smile look great, and it's going to be fast, it's going to be painless, and they're going to look amazing, right? It's going to help them get that new job or that make $1 million, whatever it is that they're focused on, their high action. And then you've got the nurturers, the people that love that personal interaction. Well, you need to start thinking about how each of your patients is wired so that you can connect the right staff members to those patients and really provide the highest level of engagement and care possible. And then also what this does is, as you really customize your communication and your care plan, as you connect the right team members with the right patients that are going to naturally align and really empower your team to customize their communication with your patients, you're going to find that it's going to increase your overall reviews and ratings of your organization and the number of referrals that you attract to your business. Okay, so very important that you look at personality science. Now, I shared with you at the beginning that I'm known as being the best-selling author of the book Raving Referrals. And I'm proud to announce that we have our second book that is going to be published in late February called Raving Referrals for Dentists. So my co-author and I have really taken the time to really create the optimal formula for attracting new patients into your practice focused on raving referrals. Why? Because number one, they're the highest profitable patients possible. These patients trust you more from the get-go, so they're going to naturally feel more comfortable and confident in your care. They're also going to spend more money. On average, referred patients spend 16% more money with your practice, okay? So some really important things. And many of you have a good referral practice, but we want to take it from good to great. So how do you do that? Well, number one, you need to be standardizing and systematizing the way that you're asking for referrals and reviews. There should be a step-by-step process that's standardized that every single patient experiences when they walk in the door and before they leave. After the fact, there's also a process that you should be implementing, and that's one of the things that we do with our partner practices. So asking for reviews and referrals in a way that's comfortable to the patient. Now, if you do this wrong, you can really turn somebody off. But if you do it right and you set the stage, listen for the referral triggers, and then ASK to GET, your patients will be thrilled, and you're going to find some superstars that are excited about sharing what you're doing. Now, many of you are doing quarterly contests, and that's awesome. There's a way that you can do that to really optimize your results, and that's one of the things that we teach to our private patients. And then social shout-outs. Of course, you've got to be compliant, right, with HIPAA, and make sure that you have your patient's authorization before you share what they're doing. But guys, there is a way that you can absolutely attract people into your practice and integrate into their social spheres by doing that. So this is one of the practices that we teach in our raving referral system for dentists. One of the most underutilized strategies that we find with the dentists that we do a practice optimization assessment with is referral partnerships. Most of you are totally missing the boat, and this is a massive opportunity to build your practice. Think about who serves who you want to serve, okay? You're serving typically homeowners, okay? Homeowners should be a core part of your perfect patient prospect profile. You should be thinking about the overall income of the patients coming into your practice. Now, some of you may choose to serve a lower income category of patient, and that's perfectly fine and admirable. But if you're really focused on optimizing the revenue and the profit of your practice, you want a higher end patient that's happy to and able to pay for the care you provide. So you should be thinking about who is really serving those patients on a regular basis. And out of your existing patient base, who can you promote? The reality is you have people that are business owners that are walking in your door every single day. You have people who are influencers that you're caring for. But are you having your staff research your patients to find out what they do more than pay you for care? Right? Do you ever think about how you can leverage some of those relationships and actually get those people that love what you do to share it with their friends, their family, their social sphere, and their coworkers? There's a process to doing it. And that's one of the things that we do with our partner practices within our practice optimization program. So think about how you can influence the influencers that walk through your door. And then also create community impact through your organization. Part of your social strategy should be sharing the difference that you're making in your community. These are some examples from HOA.com, which is another company that I run, right? Whether you're doing a holiday event that you're promoting, a great egg hunt, or we're passionate about serving veterans, okay? So every single month, look at what's going on and how you can share the difference that you're making in your practice with your community. We recommend that you're a charity champion. Here on screen, I'm going to show you a quick video that I recorded a couple of weeks ago. I was at Dental Hearts and the Implant Education Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. And here what they do is they provide free implants for veterans, for homeless, and for low-income patients. Now, this is a training facility, so they're training doctors on how to do implants, and they partnered with Nobel Biocare, who's one of our partners, and you can see there all of the Nobel supplies that are actually provided for free, right? Whatever it is that you're doing to provide free care or make a difference in your local community, make sure that you're spreading the word about that and that all of your clients know, your patients know, so that you're able to make a difference every day and attract people that care about what you're doing. Now, lastly, we want you to be aware of how your practice is showing up each and every day. When people are searching for a dentist in your local area, how do you show up? This here is a marketing snapshot report that we've recently done for a dentist here in the Surprise, Arizona area. And you'll see that there's a score from 1 to 100 and then individual letter grades. But what we do is we provide this analysis, and we'll be happy to provide it to you absolutely free. But the way that this works is it helps analyze exactly how your practice is showing up online. In all of the different directories, is your business being listed and being found? And depending on your area, there's typically around 70 major directories that your business should be listed, and they all flow into and are important for your Google My Business rating, okay? So if you want your practice to be found when people are searching for dentists within that 5 miles around your business, then you need an analysis and an assessment. This is one of the dental practices just to help you identify exactly where you stand and where you could be. We're going to analyze your reviews and your ratings and see how many you have and what your average rating and review is and how many you're getting every month. We're going to look at your social and see how many likes that you have, how many followers, and how active you are. And then analyze your website to see if there are any gaps. What's the overall performance and speed of your website? Again, most of you aren't marketing experts, so this is one of the services that we provide so that you understand exactly how your practice is being found online. And then lastly, search engine optimization. You know, you might have some terms that you're being found for, while there's other terms that you're just missing the boat on. And guys, this could make a difference to 10, 20, 100 new patients each and every month coming into your practice, okay? So make sure you understand exactly what's going on in your business. And as I mentioned, we're happy to do that analysis and provide that report for you absolutely free. As I mentioned at the beginning of this masterclass, we do a practice optimization assessment. It's a 60-minute discovery call. We're going to ask you questions to determine your baseline revenue, where you're at right now, and where you want to be. And once we do that initial analysis, if we decide to work together, if we decide that you're a fit for us, and by the way, you've got to be coachable and you've got to want to grow, because we're only taking on practices that want to grow, because we only get paid when we help your business grow, right? So if your business doesn't grow in overall profitability, then we don't get paid. So we're very selective about the practices that we choose to partner with, but we provide this practice optimization assessment for you absolutely free, and there's no obligation. So at the very least, go ahead and scan that QR code. We'll have my assistant put that link into chat so that you can go ahead and schedule your 60-minute discovery call, and we'll start that practice optimization assessment process. Now, the way that works is we're going to ask you some questions about where you're at right now, and again, where you want to be, based on your case acceptance rate, based on the openings in your current calendar. We're going to see exactly where we believe we can take your practice over a 12-month period of time. And let's say, just for example, and you know, don't hold me to this because this is just an example, but we recently brought on a client that was at $600,000 and their goal is to grow by $500,000, and we've got a plan in place to help them accomplish that, right? So we only get paid when we take that practice over and above their baseline revenue. We earn a percentage of the increase in gross revenue that we bring into the practice. So it's a total no risk, no obligation assessment. Go ahead and scan that code or click the link in chat, and we'll be happy to meet with you one-on-one and assess your existing performance and profitability of your practice to determine if this would be a good fit for you and you would be a good fit for us. Again, we're selective about who we bring on board, but what we're committed to is helping your practice become a championship level practice, both in your performance and also in your team. We want you to be able to walk into your practice every day proud as can be, excited and confident, right? No anxiety, but just proud of the business that you're creating, proud of the difference that you're making in your local community, and excited about the growth plan, because now, where before you had fear and doubt or concern because you weren't really sure the best way to do things, now you've got a team, not only of a consultant, but also a coach and best practices that are proven to optimize your overall revenue and profitability. So scan that QR code, click the link in chat, and we look forward to meeting with you one-on-one. Again, it's no obligation. It's a 60-minute call. You're going to learn a lot. And on average, we're able to identify $250,000 in additional revenue that we can help you integrate in your business in just the first year. So for $250,000, it's definitely worth an hour of your time. And we appreciate your time that you spent with us today. So thank you for joining us. We hope that this has been incredibly powerful for you and that we've given you some great ideas to take your practice to the next level. As you move forward, we would love to partner with you, again, if you're coachable and if you're committed to growing and creating and being a champion dentist. So thanks again for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Take care.